And good evening. This is the Elliott Wave update for the NASDAQ 100 for Thursday, October 14th, 2021. The markets gave us our answer today. All of them, the Dow, the NASDAQ, the S&P, and the Russell, all gave us the answer of what the direction was going to be, at least for the very near term, next week, today, tomorrow. And the NASDAQ broke above that resistance that actually was holding it. And that would have been like, that was a long time ago, it feels like, at 14,820. And then it broke the resistance at 14,891. Then it broke 14,900. And then it broke 14,968. Then it broke 15,000. Then it broke 15,020. And then I went up and touched 15,072. I got as high as 77. And so it was quite an impressive day by the NASDAQ and a very profitable trading day. I wanted to emphasize that. And first, let me just review the count, and then I will explain why it was such a profitable day and what the kick or the key was. I have now changed this, but I have discussed this count enough that understanding that we would be in a C wave, understanding that if we broke above these levels, that it cleared the path for 15,200. Understanding that if that was going to be the case, this would be a C wave. It would no longer be a wave 2. It would be a C wave up as a part of a larger ABC to complete a minor wave 2. Here's minor 1. We're still looking to complete minor wave 2. And this would remain the case unless the market goes up and breaks above 15,400. If we break above 15,400, then this intermediate degree has to shift, and it would be something else. And then we would be looking for an irregular, it would be an ABC down to this level, and we'd still be in a B wave, but it would be likely an irregular B wave. And it would, then we could start to expect that it could get all the way up and to new highs, to new all-time highs. Another day, we'll go into that, likely on Sunday. But let's see what happens tomorrow. So getting back into it, so A and B done within the minor 2. So that was the shift in the labeling. The overall nature of this entire move being corrective remains the same. It's just, it's now extended, and that was shown to us by the market. And so we've put in the labeling. That is a minute A, a minute B to complete a minor wave 2. So C wave up, always are 5 waves. Knowing that, and what we got into today was a 3rd wave. And let me see if I can just make this a little bit bigger, and we can see all of these internals. It was really great. Okay, so here, basically, is the bottom of that B wave. And so we're off on the C wave. Basically 1, 2, and then the rest is the 3rd wave, all the way up. And so the 3rd wave kind of came in. We had some decent sells. We had some great sells, but those would have been yesterday. And so now we're coming into what we did today. So if I pick this up today, right there, we were actually in the last phases of that 5th wave, of that wave 3, and it would have been wave 5, 3. But it was great. It was just bing, 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 bing. It just went up and up and up and up and up and up and up. And there were periods where it kind of got real slow just before the noon hour. Right there. Great rally, but then it just kind of slowed down, and we kind of turned up a little bit, turned down a little bit, turned up a little, but then it kind of perked up, and then it just kind of then got slow again up until that close. But very good trading in the 3rd wave, very clean. And it started yesterday. And so what we've really now seen, and I comment on, is that it's been 3 great days of trading, and several with really nice follow-on moves in it that were tradable. And again, I reiterate that today's trading provided with enough upside that even if you thought, okay, we're going to go down, you maybe hit a resistance point, you're looking for a downside or whatever your reason was, and you got stuck in a short, you could have covered the short, you're taking your hit, and then getting back on into focus and just keep trading, and you made your money back. And still, it was not real difficult to continue to play it. So, and I say all this because I think it's very important that our mindsets are clear. If I take a step back, I'm like, okay, I'm not sure why, other than tomorrow is October expiration, why they're moving in and buying these the really high-end stocks. I mean, they're pushing Apple, they're pushing Amazon, they're pushing Chipotle, they're pushing Coinbase, they're pushing everything. Salesforce, PayPal, Google, Facebook, they all got involved today. Intel. Now, advance of earnings, well, maybe, but today was the first day. Alcoa came in, Alcoa, I don't know if you want to call it blowing the doors off, but the stock's up. The stock's up like $5 last I checked. And so, I would suspect that they're going to kind of start coming in and buying it again in advance of the earnings. Plus, we have the expiration. And please understand, as these indexes go up and they start blasting through strike prices, now this would go for both sides. So tomorrow we could see a more stronger increase in volatility, simply because as these stocks advance or decline, they're going through strike prices. So it depends on the speed. If they get it to a level and they just hold it there and everybody stands in agreement, then we're going to have a sideways, slow, nothing day. But if they give us enough range, we get a lot of volatility and it'll be good trading. So those are really our choices for tomorrow, I think, in terms of trading. But I think that the volatility will remain because just of how they've now pushed this very, very strongly for the last few days. And so I'm kind of expecting some additional upside, but I think that if we tack another 200 on tomorrow, we're going to be sitting at 15,200. So we could reach that upside by tomorrow. And if that's the case, then what comes after? If this indeed completes wave C and then completes a minor 2, what are we looking at? We're looking at an awfully long way down. So no matter if this market does it tomorrow or whether this goes through 52,200 and starts heading up towards new all-time highs, it's not going to change the inevitable move that I will continue to expect. And that is a very strong, devastating, price-wise decline. And I think it kicks off with a shock. So again, the market just kind of like something happens somewhere around the globe, has to do with interest rates. It has to do with whether a company is solvent or insolvent. It might have to do with bonds. There's all kinds of things out there. I mean, the Evergrande from China, that's never been resolved. It's still hanging out there. Nobody really knows. Is this company solvent, insolvent? Are they making payments, not making payments? What's happening with their bonds, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What's happening with our bonds? What is the Fed really going to do? So there's all this swirl going around, plus the fact that it's October. And we always get the October surprise. And this to me is the October surprise. And I think it was a surprise to a lot of traders who weren't expecting the Dow to rally $534. And basically, we're just moving back in. We're buying everything. So I think the sellers, they just said, okay, we'll stop selling right now. And they just pushed, they created a vacuum, boom, you got to take it up. But they're still there. They're just waiting. And that's my feeling. Now, what can we do tomorrow? I think we do pull back in a little wave 4. And so where we can actually take all this is right from, I'm going to take it from here. That I'm going to say is the end of wave 2. And what I want to do is just actually get rid of, fortunately, this, which gives us our upside, but we know 15,200. Remove. There. Now, I'm going to change this to retracement. Back to that. I think the bottom of wave 2 is, put that up to the top of 3. 3A2, which is the most common, is going to come in at 14,916. Could I get there? Sure. You know, sellers, they just boom. But we have right now is resting on hourly support at the hourly 8. We have the 20 right at 236. That puts it as a high candidate. So we could drop to 978 to 971, somewhere in that territory. And then we have 916, which is 382. So right now, with what we're looking at for tomorrow, they could drop it down there, but I think that even it does, and it breaks the 20 and gets down here and gets close to the 50, I think they move in and they buy it tomorrow. I do not believe that this is over yet. And now I am looking for it. I will say it has successfully gotten above 15,300, which 15,003, excuse me. And that was the high of what now is wave A. It's done a very good job of getting above that. It's gotten all the way up to higher resistance. So I'm not looking for a very deep retracement right now. If it starts to break below the 50 and then again below the 200, well, then I'm going to say wave C is done and that minor 2 is done. And now we're just starting to head lower. And then, you know, we all know that's going to be a third wave, and then it should be quick to start. So in other words, it's just like they start selling at whatever level of history, they reject the level and it comes down. So first, though, in all honesty, I do think we continue to rise. So right now, we're looking for little wave 4. We got support at 14,978 down to 970s. We'll call it 80 to 70. And then additional support down below at 920 to 15. I don't necessarily want to see if this drop in this far and still have the potential to rally, but it can. So again, as day traders, we just trade the volatility. And if they're going to be strong on the way down, great. I think it'll be as strong on the way up. I don't believe that within this country, buying is done until we get through with expiration. And that's going to likely involve selling and buying. If the selling gets hard, remember, they're blowing through strikes in these on a lot of these options in the individual stocks plus the indexes. And so that's a lot of adjustments. So things can get very volatile, both directions, one back to back. So be prepared. So either we're going to have that really nice volatile day, or it's going to sit in a box. It's going to sit in a range because they're going to reach the level. Everybody's happy. Strikes are all in line. Everybody, you know, just going to sit there and wait for it to expire. If we get a lot of movement because this becomes a tug of war again between buyers and sellers, well, it'd be fine. Resistance up top side to complete this C wave, I believe, comes in at that 15,200 level. And like I said before, I don't necessarily want it up touching. Let me just put it back on that 4-hour chart. The top of wave 2, and that's at 15,400. So if it breaks above that level and doesn't tomorrow, which it could, I will trade it, of course, and then update the entire situation on Sunday's update. And for right now, though, I am going to leave it. Trade smart, trade well, trade using your moving averages, trade using the price action. Believe what your moving averages are telling you. Remember, I've talked about it several times when things get in alignment. And right now, the 4-hour chart, they've cruised past the 200 and they're holding above the 200. A break below, I think, could turn things sour again. And that's at 14,993. Now we have those other levels, but if we bring it down here, we could then accelerate down. That would be the deal. And that's on the 4-hour chart. So hourly chart, I think, let me just take a peek where that 200 is down, way down below. So this is the level I don't want to see broken right now. And I would not suspect that we get down to the hourly 200. The 4-hour 200, that would be a little bit of a stronger sign, but we can do it. We could for sure do it and slide back because we just crossed it up here. Okay, that's it for today. Have a good trading day tomorrow, and the next update will be on Sunday, the 17th.